Do your knees hurt every time you try to stand up? Do you find yourself pausing for a second, bracing your hands on the chair, gathering a bit of momentum just to push yourself up? Then one day you notice you've started avoiding stairs, you avoid hills, you even avoid those little walks you used to enjoy every afternoon. Not because you're lazy, but because you're afraid that knee will fight back. Same with your shoulder. When was the last time you could reach up to grab a shirt off the hanger? A simple motion now comes with a weird mix of tightness, a little sting, a pinch, and honestly, hesitation. And what about your hands? Can you still open that jar of jam in the morning? Or do your fingers just freeze, like they're no longer part of you? Then there's the hip. Stand too long, it starts to ache. Twist your body, it bites back. Lie on your side, and halfway through the night you have to roll over, not because you're stiff, but because it hurts. And finally, that lower back. You bend down to pick up something small and stop halfway, not because the thing is heavy, but because you're not sure you'll be able to stand up again, at least not in one piece. If any of this sounds familiar to you, you're not alone, but that doesn't mean you have to just accept it. I'm a doctor, I'm 70 years old, and I'm not here to lecture you about aging. I'm here as someone who's seen hundreds of patients quietly retreat from their lives, not because they wanted to, but because of joint pain no one else could see. No one ever says, "I'm in pain," but they do say, "I don't walk much anymore, my knees are too weak. I let my husband carry the baby now, my shoulder can't take the weight. I stopped sewing, my hands are too stiff to hold the needle." It's not that they gave up, it's that they started believing this is just how it goes, that they've reached a certain age, so of course this is normal. But it's not, and I want you to hear this, not from someone selling you something, but from someone who's lived alongside patients for decades. Joint pain isn't just part of getting old. It's a message, a gentle reminder that your body is missing something it used to have plenty of. According to the Cleveland Clinic, as we age, the cartilage that protects our joints starts wearing down. The fluid that keeps things moving smoothly dries up, and silent inflammation slowly creeps in. It's not dramatic, it doesn't knock you over, but it steals a little bit of your movement every single day. Until one day, even standing up from a chair takes effort. But here's the thing no one tells you, a lot of that can be restored, and sometimes all it takes is one missing piece. A familiar nutrient you've probably heard of, but never knew could make such a difference. It might help you move more freely, walk more confidently, and live without wincing at every little twist and turn. In the next part, I'll show you exactly what's happening inside your joints, and why so many people, even doctors, completely overlook one key solution. If you've been living with the pain, just putting up with it, maybe today is the day you finally step out of that cycle. A lot of people ask me, "Doctor, I haven't had any injury or accident, so why do my joints keep hurting like this?" And I get it, it's a good question, and honestly, you might be surprised by the answer, because it's simple, just rarely explained properly. Think of your joint like a door hinge. When it's new, the hinge swings smooth and silent because it's well-oiled and supported, but over time, the oil dries out, the metal starts to wear, and every time you open that door, you hear a little squeak. Your joints, same story. Inside every joint, your knees, shoulders, hips, wrists, there's a layer of cartilage covering the bones. That cartilage acts like a cushion. It keeps the bones from grinding against each other. When you're younger, that cushion is thick and smooth. Your joints move without pain. But as we age, according to Harvard Health Publishing, we start losing collagen, a protein that makes up and supports our cartilage. So the cartilage gets thinner, it starts to crack, and eventually those bones begin rubbing together. That grinding, that's the pain you feel every day. But that's not the whole picture. There's also something called synovial fluid inside your joints. Think of it like motor oil in an engine. According to the Cleveland Clinic, this fluid keeps things lubricated and nourishes the cartilage. But after 50, that fluid starts to dry up, especially if you don't move much or if your diet's low in nutrients. And when that fluid disappears, movement gets stiff and creaky, leading to morning stiffness or pain when you change positions. And here's something most people overlook. As we age, our immune system starts to get a little confused. Even normal wear and tear in a joint can trigger an overreaction. Your immune system treats it like a threat and sends inflammation to the area. But that inflammation, it causes more swelling, heat, stiffness, and can even speed up cartilage breakdown. We call this low-grade chronic inflammation, a sneaky culprit behind persistent joint pain. So here's the truth. You're not hurting because you're just getting old. You're hurting because your body's losing some of the things it once had plenty of, the protective cartilage, the joint fluid, and your natural ability to fight off inflammation. What breaks my heart is, most patients never get this full picture. They're just handed painkillers, one pill for the knee, another for the swelling, a third to deal with the side effects of the first two. No one stops to say, hey, your body might just be missing something. And if you give it the right support, the right way, you could actually improve things at the root. And that's exactly what I'm going to share with you in the next part. Because there's one nutrient, a vitamin you've heard of 100 times, that most older adults are running low on. And when you add it back in the right way, it doesn't just ease the pain. It can help your joints function better, move easier, and maybe, most importantly, restore the hope you thought you'd lost. Over the years, I've met so many patients who walk into my office with a big bag of pills. Pain meds, supplements, powders, chewables, each one promising joint relief. And nearly all of them say the same thing. I've tried everything, and nothing works for long. I don't blame them. What I feel is regret, because there's one thing they were never told about. Not even by the doctors they trusted. And this thing, it doesn't show up in commercials. It doesn't come with a hefty price tag. But if you understand it and use it right, it just might change the way you live with your joints. I'm talking about vitamin E. I still remember one of my patients clearly, Frank, 74 years old. He used to be a gym teacher, moved all his life. But the past few years, he had to use a cane just to walk down the block. Not because of any major illness, but because his knees hurt so bad, he was afraid to take a step. One day, I sat down and explained to him how inflammation works, how cartilage breaks down, how joint fluid dries up over time. He looked at me and asked, "So, Doc, you think I should try another medication?" I paused for a second, then I said, "No, Frank, not another drug. What you need is to give your joints back something they've been missing. And one of those things is vitamin E." He looked surprised. "Isn't that the skin vitamin, Doc? What's it got to do with my knees?" But he agreed to give it a try, as he said to me, "I've lost faith in a lot of stuff, but I'm still willing to try one more thing, just something small, something natural." Pushpin, so why does vitamin E matter when it comes to joint pain and recovery? According to the Mayo Clinic, vitamin E is a powerful antioxidant. It protects your cells from damage caused by free radicals, those unstable molecules that drive inflammation, wear down cartilage, and trigger pain. Healthline adds that vitamin E helps balance the immune response, which means it can calm down the low-level, ongoing inflammation. That's behind stiff joints and that dull, nagging ache you can't shake. And the Cleveland Clinic, they point out that vitamin E also helps improve blood flow, so more oxygen and nutrients can reach your joints, especially important when tissues have aged and are struggling to heal. To be honest, I used to think vitamin E was just for wrinkles and dry skin. But underneath that beauty label, it's quietly helping the body repair itself from the inside out. And here's the best part, it's natural. No prescription needed. It doesn't trick your brain into ignoring pain like most pills do. It works slowly, bit by bit, to support your body's own repair systems. In the next part, I'll tell you what happened to Frank after just 7 days of taking vitamin E the right way. And I'll share what I've learned from guiding dozens of patients. To use it wisely, not too much, not just by chance. Because this isn't some miracle cure, but it is a forgotten solution, a quiet kind of hope. And sometimes that's all it takes. Just one small change to help you start walking forward again. On the very first day, Frank told me in a quiet, almost doubtful voice, "I took my first vitamin E this morning. I'm not expecting much, but at least it didn't make me feel worse." I smiled, I understood. When someone's tried everything and been disappointed too many times, they stop expecting anything, even when it might actually help. On the second day, he called me. "I'm not sure if it's just a coincidence, but this morning I got out of bed without having to sit there for a few minutes like I usually do. My knees still ache, but that heavy dragging feeling, like someone's pulling me down, that wasn't there." Day 3, he said, "I bent down to put on my shoes and didn't have to brace myself on the table, and my hands weren't stiff like they usually are. I didn't say much, I just wrote everything down, because I wanted him to be the one to feel the changes, not from hope, not from suggestion, just from tuning in to his body." On day 4, he sent me a short message. "I walked around the park, didn't use my cane. I still carried it, but for the first time in months I didn't need it. On day 5, he told me he slept better. I don't know if it's the vitamin or just peace of mind, doc, but last night my back didn't hurt. I slept straight through. Day 6, he tried cooking again, something simple, carrot and chicken soup. But it wasn't the dish that mattered. It was the fact that he stood in the kitchen for almost an hour, without needing to sit down once. And then on day 7, Frank called again. Not to give me an update, but just to say one thing: I don't know how long this will last. But for the first time in years, I feel like I just won a small victory. I still remember his voice that day. Not excited, not rushed. Just a calm man in his 70s, quietly realizing. He was slowly taking back something he thought he'd lost forever: control. Pushpin, now let's be honest. Vitamin E is not some magic pill. No one's promising that you'll be dancing or running a marathon in 7 days. But if you take it right, take enough, and combine it with just a few small changes in your daily habits, it could be the first step toward feeling like yourself again. And Frank, he wasn't the only one. I've seen the same in so many others. A woman who picked up her knitting needles to make a scarf for her grandson. A man who sat at his piano again after 2 years of avoiding it because of wrist pain. An 80-year-old lady who now walks around her church every morning without anyone holding her arm. In the next part, I'll explain why vitamin E works the way it does. And more importantly, how to use it right. Safely, effectively, and with real science behind it. We'll go over how much should you actually take, what form works best, how can you absorb it better, and who should talk to their doctor before starting. I still remember sitting down with a colleague of mine. He's a geriatric specialist too, at the Cleveland Clinic. We were reviewing the blood work of a 68-year-old woman who'd been struggling with chronic shoulder pain. She'd been on anti-inflammatory meds for a while, but nothing was really helping. And then it showed up clear as day on the report: a severe vitamin E deficiency. Now I want you to picture this. Inside every joint in your body, your knees, shoulders, hips, wrists, there are tiny strands of collagen and a thin layer of cartilage. They act like cushions between your bones. But as those cushions wear down, the bones start rubbing against each other, and that's where inflammation starts creeping in. According to the Mayo Clinic, this process speeds up as we age. Because the body slows down its collagen production, we make less joint fluid, and our immune system can overreact, triggering unnecessary inflammation. And that's exactly where vitamin E quietly steps in, like an old friend you forgot you had. DNA vitamin E, the silent shield against joint rust. Vitamin E isn't a painkiller, it's a powerful antioxidant. What that means is, it helps sweep away harmful molecules called free radicals. These little troublemakers build up when we're stressed, not eating well, or, let's be honest, just getting older. WebMD calls vitamin E lubrication for your cells. And in your joints it can reduce inflammation and ease that painful bone-on-bone grind. Protect the cells in your cartilage, slowing down wear and tear. Improve circulation, helping deliver oxygen and nutrients right where your joints need healing most. So what does the research say? One study published in Annals of the Rheumatic Diseases found that people with chronic knee arthritis who took 400–600 IU of vitamin E daily for 6 weeks reported noticeable pain relief and even better mobility compared to those who didn't. Another study from Boston University noted that seniors with low vitamin E levels had more inflammation, struggled more with walking, and often felt chronically fatigued. Direct hit, but why are we so low in vitamin E to begin with? Now this part is honestly kind of heartbreaking. You could eat your veggies, get some sun, try to stay healthy your whole life. But after 60, your body just doesn't absorb vitamin E the way it used to. And to make things worse, many older adults are on meds like antacids, diuretics, and cholesterol drugs, all of which block vitamin E absorption. But no one really tells you that. So you think, well, I'm just getting older, that's why I hurt. But the truth, your body might simply be running low on something it used to have plenty of. Pushpin, so how do you use it the right way? In the next part, I'll break it all down for you. What's the safest and most effective daily dose? Should you go with capsules or oil? Should you take it with food? And who should definitely talk to their doctor first? Right now, I just want you to know this. You don't have to accept pain as part of growing older. Sometimes it only takes one small step, one overlooked piece of the puzzle, to help you take back a whole part of your life. And like I always tell my patients, just because you've been hurting doesn't mean you have to keep hurting. I once had a patient, 74 years old, from Ohio. She walked into my office carrying a plastic bag full of supplements, big pills, little pills, pricey bottles she bought online. She sat down and said, "Doctor, I heard vitamin E is good for joints, but I have no idea what kind to buy, how much to take, or if it's even safe. I'm just overwhelmed." Sound familiar? You know something might help you, but the moment you step into a pharmacy, you're hit with rows and rows of labels. 200 IU, 400 IU, D-alpha, DL-alpha, natural, synthetic. And you're left wondering, am I doing this right? Well, I'm here to tell you, it's actually a lot simpler than you think. Magnifying glass tilted left first up. What kind of vitamin E should you look for? There are two main types. D-alpha tocopherol, this is the natural form. Your body absorbs it better and uses it more efficiently. DL-alpha tocopherol, the synthetic version. It's cheaper, but not as effective when it comes to absorption. If possible, go for products that say D-alpha tocopherol on the label. I always recommend trusted brands from the US or Europe, places that follow strict quality standards. Pill, how much should you take? According to Harvard Health and Mayo Clinic, a safe and effective daily dose for older adults is between 200 and 400 IU per day. Some studies have used higher doses, up to 600 or even 800 IU, but only under close medical supervision, especially if you're on blood thinners like warfarin. High doses can interfere with blood clotting. You don't need to start high. Begin with 200 IU per day, ideally right after breakfast with a bit of healthy fat, like a slice of avocado, a spoonful of olive oil, or a handful of almonds. Vitamin E is fat-soluble, so taking it on an empty stomach may reduce how well your body absorbs it. Green salad, what about getting it from food? I always say, use both, a supplement plus food. Foods rich in vitamin E include almonds, sunflower seeds, walnuts, extra virgin olive oil, sunflower, leafy greens like spinach and kale, avocado, kiwi, salmon. But here's the truth. It's hard to get enough vitamin E through food alone, especially as you get older and your absorption slows down. That's why a supplement, if used correctly, is a simple and effective option. Warning, any precautions to keep in mind? Yes. And I want you to remember just 3 simple things. 1, don't overdo it. Taking too much for too long can mess with your blood's ability to clot and may interact with medications. 2. If you're on blood thinners, statins, or blood pressure meds, talk to your doctor first. 3. Listen to your body. If after a few days you feel lighter, sleep better, and move more easily, keep going. But if your stomach feels off or you feel bloated, try lowering the dose or switching brands. Speech balloon, one of my patients once told me, "I don't know if vitamin E will take away all my pain. But since I started taking it, I can get up easier. I'm not afraid of stairs anymore, and most importantly, I actually want to go outside again." Backhand index pointing right in the next part, I'll show you the simple daily habits that can double vitamin E's effect and help your body heal even faster. We'll talk about things like better sleep, anti-inflammatory foods, and even a little early morning sunlight. Let me paint you a picture. You start taking your vitamin E every morning, right dose, right form, just like we talked about. 1 week passes, then 2, but you don't feel that much different. So you start to wonder, is this even working for me? I've seen many patients go through the same thing. They're doing everything right, well, almost. Because taking the vitamin is only half the picture. The other half, it's your lifestyle. The little things you do every single day, the ones no one really tells you about. See, vitamin E, or any nutrient for that matter, doesn't work in a vacuum. It needs the right environment in your body to shine. And what I'm about to share isn't theory. It's what science confirms and what I've seen with my own eyes in hundreds of older adults. Droplet 1. Water's simple but more powerful than you think. Most older folks don't drink enough water. Not because they aren't thirsty, but because they forget. Or they avoid it to keep from going to the bathroom too often. But even mild dehydration, as the Mayo Clinic notes, can make your joints stiff, your muscles ache, and your meds less effective. Here's what I usually recommend. A warm glass of water first thing in the morning. Another small glass mid-morning and again mid-afternoon. And don't wait until you're thirsty. By then, your body's already running low. Many of my patients say just staying hydrated helps them feel less heavy, less sluggish, more awake throughout the day. Person female 2. Gentle movement, your joint's natural oil chain. One of the biggest mistakes I see. People stop moving because they're afraid of pain. And I get it, if every step makes your knee scream, going for a walk feels like punishment. But here's the catch. The less you move, the faster your joints break down. Cleveland Clinic explains it well. Gentle motion triggers your joints to release synovial fluid. That's the natural lubrication your body makes to keep bones from grinding. It doesn't take much. A 10-minute stroll around the house. A few stretches in the morning, even just reaching, turning, flexing your arms and legs before getting out of bed. I had one patient, George, 79 years old, who walked around his backyard every evening for 2 weeks. He came back and told me, "Doc, I don't have to sit down every 5 minutes anymore. Herb 3, anti-inflammatory foods, healing your joints from the inside out. Vitamin E is an antioxidant. But if every meal you eat adds more inflammation, it's like fixing a leak with one hand while punching a hole with the other." WebMD lays it out clearly. Refined sugar, processed meats, fried foods, they all stoke chronic inflammation, the one enemy of your joints. So swap them out slowly. Add fatty fish like salmon or mackerel. Use extra virgin olive oil. Snack on nuts, eat more leafy greens, toss some turmeric in your soups. You don't have to go on a strict diet. Just remove one harmful thing and add one helpful thing each day. Sun 4, morning sunlight, nature's free prescription. No need for a beach trip. Just 10-15 minutes in early morning light before 9 a.m. Helps your body make vitamin D, and vitamin D helps vitamin E and calcium do their jobs better. Harvard Health points out that low vitamin D can lead to bone pain, mood dips, even mild depression in seniors. One of my 82-year-old patients told me, "Doc, all I do is sit out on the porch for 10 minutes each morning, but somehow my mind feels clearer." Relieved Face 5. Stress relief, healing happens in a calm body. This one's my personal favorite. Your body can eat well, take the right supplements, follow the best advice. But if your mind is tense all day, filled with worry, anger, or fear, your body will release more cortisol. And cortisol fuels inflammation. So take a break. Listen to your favorite music. Call someone you love, meditate for 5 minutes before bed, or just smile as you think about a beautiful memory. A peaceful heart makes room for healing. Direct hit everything I just shared. It's not hard. But when you pair these habits with vitamin E taken the right way, that's when things begin to shift. Fatigue becomes energy, aches become motion. Resignation becomes hope. And if you're still here with me at this point, thank you. Truly. Because I know not everyone has the courage to face their pain, especially the kind that's been quietly stealing their life year after year. But today, maybe, just maybe, you've found a different answer. We've talked about the little signs that many folks over 50 simply accept. Morning stiffness, sore knees, aching lower back, the feeling that every time you stand or sit, it's like moving a mountain. We've pushed past the confusion, the disappointment that comes after trying pills, ointments, gadgets, only to get temporary relief, if any. And then came the turning point, vitamin E, not a miracle, not a magic fix, but a key, a long-forgotten tool that helps your body tap into its own ability to heal. Now you know why vitamin E impacts your joints, your energy, even your mood. How to pick the right kind, take the right dose at the right time. And how the little things, hydration, gentle movement, anti-inflammatory foods, morning light, peace of mind, are what truly allow vitamin E to do its job. And now, before we part ways, I want to thank you for choosing to care for yourself, for not giving up even when your body pushes back, for believing that something better is still possible. Let me ask you something. Do you remember the last time you stood up from your chair without groaning or bracing yourself? The last time you walked the whole park loop without grabbing the bench halfway through? Are you ready for those moments to return? You don't need to do everything today. Just start tomorrow with one vitamin E capsule, a glass of water, a few steps around your home, and one quiet belief: I can get better. If you're on any medications, talk with your doctor before starting. And if you have questions, drop them in the comments. I or someone from my team will be right there to help. If this video brought you value, I invite you to subscribe to Vigor Without Age. Every week we'll meet again, not just to learn, but to live better, feel better, and reconnect with who we truly are. And please share your story in the comments. You never know, your words might be the hope someone else is searching for. I wish you mornings filled with deep breaths, steady legs, and a calm mind ready to enjoy every precious moment with your loved ones. May you always stay strong, stay peaceful, stay lucky, and never lose faith in your body's ability to heal. Because you're not just getting older, you're getting wiser. And you, my friend, You deserve a life without pain. I'll see you in the next video. On this journey to living well, living free. With vigor without age.